I'll start with some background. 2 months ago, my boyfriend and I moved in together. My boyfriend comes from a family who makes quite a bit of money, and they bought us a small house in our little rural town we grew up in as his 20th birthday present. Before anyone says anything about us being too young for this, we've been together for 6 years, so it wasn't a huge surprise that we wanted to move in together. I just turned 19 and should be a college freshman, but a lot happened in my senior year and I had higher priorities than trying to get into college. So my boyfriend, Tyler, is a full-time college student and I work a job, waitressing and doing some cooking at the restaurant that Tyler's mother owns. Now the house we just moved into has 2 floors. The main floor sits at ground level. From outside, the 2-car garage sits beside, but still connected, to the house, and the front of the house has a front door right beside the garage. The garage is on the left, and then to the right of the door is the majority of the main floor. You walk in and in front of you is a door to the stairs to go downstairs. To the right is the kitchen and dining room. If you walk slightly to the right and straight, there is a hallway. There are 2 doors on each side. The 2 on the left are a closet and a little storage room. The first on the right is the bathroom and the second is our bedroom. Then, downstairs is just a large basement made into a very nice living area with the laundry machines hiding in the spot below the kitchen beside the stairs. Or as Tyler likes to call it, man cave. I have horrible insomnia, and Tyler has a lot of long hard days. He is both a pre-med student and a football player, so he's usually worn out when he gets home. Most nights, including right now, I lie in bed awake while Tyler is in a deep sleep. I've always been a fan of the paranormal, but never had much happen to me, except when I was a child. I had many paranormal experiences as a child, but they ended by the time I was about 5 or 6, and nothing has happened since, minus maybe a couple small things. I will admit, I'm a little paranoid and jump to conclusions, so moving into a new house and hearing its own sounds scared me a little. I was both scared and excited about the thought that we may have our very own ghost. I tried to tell Tyler about the sounds, tapping coming from the kitchen, a sound that sounded like water was running in the bathroom and floorboards making cracking noises at night. He told me it was just the sounds of the house settling, and each house makes its own sounds and I should be sleeping then anyway. I brushed the noises off and believed him. After spending my nights reading scary, true stories, my paranoia got worse and I found myself being extremely observant and actually listening for sounds instead of allowing them to catch me off guard. If anything, I could have been hearing sounds that were all in my head because I was listening for them. So after the first month and a half, I went from anxious to paranoid to finally believing Tyler that it was just the house settling. Then 2 weeks ago, the first thing happened. I was home alone. It was morning and Tyler was in class, and the restaurant I work at doesn't open until 11. I was just lounging around, having my 3rd cup of tea, browsing Reddit when I heard a noise downstairs. I assumed it was just the furnace kicking it. It had gotten cold that night, so I blew it off. I didn't like hearing the noise, though, so I got up and shut the door. I went into the bathroom to start getting ready and I heard a creaking sound. I went back into the kitchen to hear where it was coming from, and there, the door to the basement was wide open. I closed it and tried to blow it off by thinking that I probably just didn't close it all the way and the air pressure from the furnace may push the door open. I made sure the door latched and pulled on in to see if it would open, but it wouldn't budge. I quickly got ready and decided I was going to pick up brunch before work to get out of the house. When I went to leave, the door to the basement was wide open again. I told Tyler about it that night, and he told me the same excuse I told myself. The next morning, I was alone getting ready and I heard the basement door open and I swore I heard footsteps in the kitchen. Without thinking, I shut and locked the bathroom door. I heard the footsteps get closer and then they stopped outside the bathroom door. My heart was racing. The doorknob and door started shaking like someone was trying to frantically open the door, and I held back a scream. I was near tears, not knowing how to escape it. Now that I think back, that was nothing. I wish I was back at that point. I immediately went to my mom's house, knowing she was home. I told her what happened and she tried to comfort me. She told me to talk to Tyler about it tonight and I can come over to her house instead of being home alone when Tyler leaves if I want to. I agreed that I would do that. That night, Tyler suggested we get a dog to keep me company while I was home alone. I agreed that it sounded like a good idea. I went to my mom's when Tyler was gone, and that weekend, we got a 2-year-old housebroken pit bull from the local humane society named Lucy. She was a well-behaved, obedient dog, and she rarely barked. Only when new people were introduced to her. The Monday and Tuesday mornings of the next week were great. I didn't feel so alone with Lucy and I felt like she protected me. Then last Wednesday, I had the day off, so Lucy and I were sleeping in. I woke up to Lucy barking. I assumed someone must have knocked on the door, so I got up and looked through the peek hole. No one was there. That's when I realized that Lucy was in the open doorway to the basement, barking down the stairs. I wanted to watch TV if I was going to be alone today, so I decided to get Lucy to go down the stairs with me. I was afraid, and I could tell Lucy was afraid to go downstairs, which scared me even more. We coaxed each other down the stairs and I turned on the light. Nothing was down there, so I turned on the TV and sat on the couch with her. A couple hours had passed, and Tyler would be home in an hour. I was getting more and more relieved the closer it got to him being home. That's when Lucy started barking again, this time up the stairs. I got up to look up there and the door slammed shut. That time I screamed. I ran up the stairs and out the front door, Lucy following right beside me. I shut the front door, yes, you can laugh at that, and called Tyler, who should be on his way home. I was bawling my eyes out at this point. Our phone conversation went something like this. Me, Tyler, are you almost home? Him, I'll be there in about 15 minutes. What's wrong? Me, clearly crying. I'm scared. Him, what? What happened? Me and Lucy were downstairs watching TV and she started barking toward the door and it slammed shut while we were downstairs. I don't like it here. Him, where are you now? Me, outside with Lucy. Him, say outside. I'll be there as soon as I can. Me, okay. Stay on the phone with me. We talked on the phone until he got home and we went inside. He strategically tied up the door so it would stay shut. He told me not to worry about going downstairs while he's gone. He told me to leave it tied up and hopefully nothing bad would happen. That night, I was almost asleep when I heard a pounding sound coming from the kitchen. Lucy started barking frantically. I must have had a terrified look because when Tyler woke up, he looked at me and said frantically, "What's going on?" We went out into the kitchen and at that moment I had never been more terrified in my life. The basement door was wide open. The ropes and metal bar Tyler used to keep the door shut were on the ground and the door was shredded with claw marks. I ran outside and Tyler followed, shutting the door behind him. I tried calling my mom, but she didn't answer. What are we going to do? I asked Tyler. I had never seen him so exhausted and scared. I don't know. He put his head in his lap. I wrapped my arms around him. Then I heard the noise I hope I never hear again in my life. In fact, I hope to never heard anything remotely similar. Lucy was still inside, and she yelped the saddest sound I've ever heard. It sounded incredibly painful. Tyler opened the door and Lucy was in the corner of the kitchen. He picked her up because she could barely walk and handed her to me. I'm going to pack everything we need for tomorrow. We need to bring her to the vet, he said. You stay out here with her. So Tyler packed up our stuff in probably under a minute and we were on the road. There was a 24-hour pet ER 25 minutes away in the city Tyler goes to college at. I fell asleep in the lobby on the couch, leaning against Tyler, who was wide awake. The vet said that Lucy had 2 broken ribs and then had to do emergency surgery on her leg, which was super close to being unfixable. It looked crushed, he said. He told us to go home and get some rest and then he'd update us tomorrow. I called my mom repetitively until she answered. I explained what happened and asked her if we could come over. It's now Saturday and we have only been back to the house once to pick up stuff we would need for another week of being gone. Lucy is okay and we brought her home last night and we're all staying at my mom's house. I'm terrified and have no idea what was happening in our house. I was hoping someone here would have something to say. I'm afraid it's going to follow us. Tyler is going to talk to his dad and see what he thinks we should do. I personally never want to go back in the house again.